guys. So a lot going on in the NBA. We have talked about a lot of future awards throughout this year in doing the show. But the one award we have not discussed at all is Sixth Man of the Year. We haven't talked about this at all. And I think for the reason we haven't really talked about this was that it looked like it was pretty much a runaway award. It looked like it was Jordan Clarkson's award to win. And so there wasn't really much of a discussion in terms of the conversation about who could win, who could challenge Jordan Clarkson. But things have changed a lot. This is now not a one-man race. This is probably a two or possibly three-man race. If you look at the odds, Joe Ingles of the Utah Jazz, who Brian hates, and also Jalen Brunson of the Dallas Mavericks, they have entered this conversation. They have a right to be talked about in terms of winning this. The odds are a lot closer than the gap was maybe a month and a half, 2 months ago. So, and I know Brian has another guy who should be on the list, but you're not seeing him in a lot of these odds that we'll talk about as well. I want to ask both of you, you look at the odds now, you look at some of the betting houses, and it's anywhere of a difference from, 300, 250 or so between the odds for some of these guys. Do you still like Jordan Clarkson to win this award, or would you put your money on Joe Ingles, Jalen Brunson, or somebody else? Murph, I'll start with you. Who would you put your money on for Sixth Man of the Year?
Well, I mean, the odds are heavily in Clarkson's favor. I agree with that in terms of who I think will win. Obviously, you're not going to win any money off of that, but I do think it's Jordan Clarkson's award. He got off to the early lead. I think a lot of people, in the media even stopped really paying attention all that much after that. When you look at other guys, yeah, you could argue that Jalen Brunson or even Ingles is the better player or even helping their teams more right now. But I think Clarkson had such a strong start, and he still is averaging the most points by far out of the three of them. He's averaging 17 points. I think the other two, I know Brunson's averaging 12 points. I forget Ingles is around that range too. So I think Clarkson is still the runaway winner. So putting your money anywhere else, I think you're just wasting it.
Just wasting it there. Brian, you're smiling, which makes me think that you might not necessarily agree with Murph on this, and you might put your money elsewhere. Where are you putting your money for Sixth Man of the Year?
Where's Bobby Portis? Honestly. Where is he? He's not even plus 20,000. There are some books where he's not even listed on some of them. I've seen him at least be plus 10,000, plus 15,000. Doesn't make sense. Let me answer your first question, which was about Jordan Clarkson. No, I don't think Jordan Clarkson is the Sixth Man of the Year because I don't think the Sixth Man of the Year should just be who scored the most off the bench. Let's give it to them, and then cool. Because to me, a sixth man is much more than that. I don't even think he's the best sixth man on his own team. That would probably be Joe Ingles at this point, who's averaging something like 13, 4, and 4. He's shooting the ball way better in terms of percentages. And Jordan Clarkson in his last 23 games is shooting 37% from the field, 31% from three, and only averages 16 points a game. I don't care how much somebody's scoring off the bench. That's not enough for me to give you Sixth Man of the Year. Where's Bobby Portis? Bobby Portis is averaging over 11 and 7 off the bench for the Milwaukee Bucks. And because we're tired of the Milwaukee Bucks, we don't want to give him any love. And he should be in this Sixth Man of the Year conversation. My front runner right now would probably be Jalen Brunson. I would probably put a couple dollars on him. I would probably put a couple dollars on Joe Ingles before I go to Jordan Clarkson. Because you're not going to win any money with Jordan Clarkson anyway, nor do I think he should win this award. And I'll put some money on Bobby Portis too, because you can't even – I don't even know if you could put money on Bobby Portis in some of these books. But it doesn't make sense. 21 minutes a game, over 11 points, over 7 rebounds, but we're fucking tired of the Bucks. So everybody's like, all right, Giannis is not getting MVP consideration anymore. We're not giving this person this. Drew Holiday's probably not going to make all defense, et cetera, et cetera.
But the point that you're bringing up, Brian, you talked about how the award traditionally has been let's vote for the guy who has the most points off the bench. That's traditionally how people have voted on the award, right? Like that's how it's gone. I think you make a fair point that maybe we need to look at this more comprehensively into who is actually the best sixth man. But Murph, you're kind of making the point, right? This is how people have bet on this award throughout time. And does that support the reason why you think Jordan Clarkson is the safe and best bet here?
Yeah, he jumped off to the early lead, so he was on top of everybody's mind, so he was already there. And like you said, this is how people vote for the award. He's averaging the most points. It's not like Lou Williams was out there getting triple doubles. You know what I'm saying? He was just scoring points off the bench. This is what they reward. So, while I think Brian makes great points on whether he really is the best player coming off the bench out of all these guys in terms of all around, that might be true. But in terms of betting, in terms of who's going to win the award, we know how this goes. The media is not really looking too deep into this when it comes to Sixth Man of the Year.
Yeah, maybe we need to do better on that. Maybe that's Brian's point. Maybe we should care. It almost sounds like the media doesn't really give a damn about the Sixth Man of the Year award, that they've been so lazy to just be like, hey, whoever has the most points. Like, Brian, I'm with you, bro. Like, I do think you're right, but I don't think that's going to, in terms of betting, I kind of want to lean to the way people have been betting or giving this award out. I don't think it's going to change this year. I think it will change eventually. I just don't think this year is going to change. And Jordan Clarkson probably still will get it unless your boy Jalen Brunson comes too strong down the stretch and people show some love for the Mavs. But we'll see about that. For you guys, before we move on out of this, some of the other races, right? We've kind of talked about MVP a lot. We've looked at some of the other races. Are there any of the other races where you think things are heating up or maybe getting a little bit closer? Or is there a person in some of these other races for awards that you might put your money on that you didn't think about doing 2 months ago? Anyone for you guys?
Yeah. Defensive Player of the Year, which we get wrong probably every single season that we do this. Because, people just don't know. Murph brings up an interesting point. I don't know if we could get the Defensive Player of the Year odds right now, Greg. Let me know. But Murph makes an interesting point about just the voting and how people vote for this. And when you really think about it, it's almost as if a lot of the media voting for some of these awards are just sort of being casual about it, right? Like, how much are they actually paying attention to certain things? And this is why you could sort of look up, Sixth Man of the Year, who scored the most points, and that's really it. I feel like this would take too much work and we're not going to be able to do this, but I feel like there's a comprehensive study that can be had where you go back and look at all of the awards that people have voted for and how wrong some of them were, Russell Westbrook's MVP being a famous example. Now, Defensive Player of the Year. See, look at this bullshit. Rudy Gobert is number one, and Rudy Gobert is not the best defensive player in basketball. He's not. He's simply not. I understand, he can fucking rotate. He blocks shots. He's 7 feet. Looks like he's 7'2". He can switch a little bit and all these different things. Probably more than a little bit, let me be fair. But, come on. We saw what Ben Simmons said about him the other day. That he dropped 40 on you or whatever the case may be. If Ben Simmons is basically calling you a bitch, then, what do you want me to say? What do you want me to say?
But the odds.
Ben Simmons, by the way, has a great Defensive Player of the Year case. Can you pull that up again, Greg? I need to see this one more time because I want to look at the top. All right, so Ben Simmons is second, right? Miles Turner is third. I guess. Giannis is fourth. I'm not mad at that. Joel Embiid, Clint Capella. All right, whatever. Where's Jimmy Butler? Where's Jimmy Butler? But where's Marcus Smart was hurt. Bam Adebayo's all the way down. Dort. The fuck? All right, whatever. You have guys here.
You're really mad about this
because it's what the perimeter defenders never get a lot of love in this. We haven't had a great perimeter defender win Defensive Player of the Year, or a guard at least, since Gary Payton, and that was 25 years ago, 26 seasons ago.
Well, here's the thing though. Now you have Ben Simmons at the top here, and Murph, I want you to chime in on this.
Not a guard.
But he's a lead guard for that team, and he can guard everything 1 through 5. If Ben Simmons wins this award,
and he probably should,
and I don't know how Murph feels, and I want to get Murph's thoughts on this. But if he does win this award, he would be the most versatile defender to win this award in quite some time. The odds, Brian, despite what you're saying, the odds are saying it's close between him and Rudy Gobert. It's sort of a toss-up here, right? Which makes this race a lot interesting, at least more than it was a couple months ago as well, too. Murph, for Depoy, do you like Ben Simmons? Are you off the Rudy Gobert train? If you were ever even on that, I don't know. Who do you like for Depoy? Because I think the race is a lot closer than some may think.
Yeah, I like Ben Simmons. People, complaining about him and, putting up, kind of weak numbers, especially scoring wise. But I think he's putting a lot of his energy onto the defensive end. He's playing, amazing on that side of the ball. You can actually see it if you watch the games. I remember there was a game when they were at Portland, and he guarded Lillard late, kind of locked him up at the end of the game, and that's what his task is to do. Whoever's hot at the end of the game, you put Simmons on him. I don't care what size he is, and it's really his assignment. I think people, defensive player of the year to me, I think the media is either lazy or they don't know what they're talking about. It's always who has the most blocks. It's always who's the rim protector. It's usually a big man. Did Scottie Pippen ever win? I know Michael Jordan won a defensive player. I'm pretty sure.
Scottie Pippen never won.
Scottie Pippen never did. And you could argue he's the best defender we've ever seen play. Honestly,
right. So I just think the media, for the most part, doesn't know what the hell they're talking about when it comes to defense. I mean, now people are looking at defensive efficiency.
Right.
Come on, just watch the games and tell me who can make the biggest impact. Who do you put on the other team's best scorer, and is that person effective most of the time? I made on Twitter, I was making the point that I think it's Ben Simmons. Or someone else, you laughed at Capella. I didn't even think about Capella. Someone else in my mentions was like, "Oh, what about Capella?" I'm like, I mean, to me, he's a dominant rebounder. Rebounding is defense. I mean, I guess technically it's defense, but
it ends the possession. Yes, it's part of it.
And Atlanta Hawk is not going to be in my all defense first or second team.
I also
want to say, like, in regards to the stats that Murph is bringing up, which is a great point. Also, like, not even all the defensive metrics are accurate because there's so much switching now. You could attribute somebody scoring on somebody else, but it's like, how do you actually know? Because they're switching all the time. How are we tracking deflections? How are we tracking hustle plays and things of that nature? Like, defense, you need to see with your eyes. You can't just quantify it with all these advanced numbers. That's the biggest problem here. That's why people like Ben Simmons and Jimmy Butler and Marcus Smart, if he were healthy, a typical Marcus Smart season, he would be at the top of this leaderboard, but they don't get that love because the numbers aren't going to reflect that, because the league is so guard driven now that the guards are going to score at will every single time. When you're watching Jimmy Butler, switch on to like Nikola Jokic in the post, like last night, and they try to throw the entry pass and he just swats it away. But he's not going to get credit for that because, it's just people don't know how to like guard defense, not talk about defense.
And isn't it unfair to give the big men the benefit of the doubt for this award all the time when half the time they're just chilling in the paint?
Right.
They have to move.
Right.
While these guards are like chasing people around. They got to guard multiple guys. They got
a guard-driven league.
They're giving it to some dude who's 7 foot who could just chill and wait and leave his man and be a help defender and block a shot. It's ridiculous.
Because think about it, and to piggyback off that, when you're switching, the guard is actually making the move. All the big has to do is step up 2 steps and then drop back down. And it's like, all right, you got my man, I got yours.
The guard is the reason he's coming to you. He's
right.
forcing the player to you.
Right. No, you guys both make great points. And I actually have more hope. I'll say this. I have more hope that the conversation for voting for Depoy will evolve through the media a little bit quicker than maybe for Sixth Man. But I still don't know. Now, for my money, looking at this year, watching basketball, and Murph brings up the great point. You got to watch the games, man. You have to watch the games. There's been nobody better on defense in terms of impact than Ben Simmons. I've been watching tons of Sixers games. There's nobody in the league I say, oh, you know what? We need to stop. We can put him on this dude. I'm going to put him on here. Yeah, I see you, Eric Chang. I see you talking about Rudy is a beast on D, and people love his screen assist and all that stuff and all that, other stuff. But like, in terms of who's the best defender, who gets me deflections, who I would trust to lock a great scorer like Dame Lillard, Murph brought up in that Portland game, in Portland, which you were talking about, Murph, I agree. Those are moments that stick out to me if I had a vote. And if we look at the odds, right now, you've got Rudy Gobert, DraftKings minus 335, FanDuel minus 280, PointsBet minus 400, BetMGM minus 278. Ben Simmons, you should put your money on him right now. And I think both of the guys here would agree with me. Plus 230 at DraftKings for Ben Simmons, plus 240 at FanDuel, plus 350 at PointsBet, and plus 225 for BetMGM. I say put your money on Ben Simmons. Now, the thing you have to have faith in, and this kind of goes back to our topic of Sixth Man of the Year, is how do you think the voters are going to vote on this? And that kind of affects the way you bet. But if it was for me and I had a vote, it would be for Ben Simmons. However, do we trust the voters, guys? The way you guys sound, no, you don't trust the voters because people are going to say, oh, well, Rudy had all these blocks or, whatsoever. So, come on. What do you got?